Imagine standing at the edge of two roads. The first road is well lit. Along its path stand parents, teachers, mentors, elders, sacred writings, philosophers, historians, and even strangers whose lives whisper the same message. Slow down. Think again. There is danger ahead. Someone has already made this mistake. Learn from them instead. The second road is strangely quiet. No warning signs, no helpful voices, no mentors, no second opinions, only silence. Yet hidden beyond the bend are broken dreams, shattered relationships, empty bank accounts, prison cells, hospital beds, loneliness, regret, and tears. The frightening part is this: both roads lead to the same classroom, but they teach in completely different ways. One teaches with wisdom, the other teaches with pain. One asks you to listen, the other forces you to understand. And by the time the second classroom has finished teaching, the tuition has already been paid. Sometimes with money, sometimes with years, sometimes with trust. Sometimes with a future that can never be fully recovered. There is an old African saying, "The child who refuses to listen to the drumbeat of wisdom will dance to the rhythm of regret." Every day, without realizing it, each of us chooses one of these classrooms. The question is not whether life will teach you. Life teaches everyone. The only question is how much you are willing to pay for the lesson. Welcome to Kukan Echoes, where ancient wisdom meets modern life, and where timeless truths help us navigate today's greatest challenges. Today, we explore one of life's most profound realities. The one who refuses to be taught by wisdom will eventually be taught by suffering. Greetings to you, all wisdom lovers around the world. In today's section, we shall be looking at a three-part series of a wisdom topic titled, Choose Your Teacher, Learn from Wisdom or Be Educated by Suffering. We shall start with the first part, titled, The First Classroom, The Teacher Who Speaks. First, it is to be noted that life is the greatest school ever built. Unlike schools built with bricks and concrete, life has no graduation ceremony, no final examination, no holiday, no retirement from learning. Every sunrise presents a new lesson. Every conversation becomes a lecture. Every mistake becomes an assignment. Every success becomes a responsibility. Life is perhaps the only school where the examination often comes before the lesson. Think about that for a moment. In school, the teacher explains the subject first and tests you after that. Life often reverses the order. You fail the relationship before you understand communication. You lose the opportunity before you learn discipline. You experience betrayal before you appreciate loyalty. You become sick before realizing the value of health. You encounter financial hardship before understanding the importance of saving. The Roman philosopher Seneca observed, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor strengthens the body." Yet Seneca also believed that wisdom allows us to avoid many unnecessary hardships by learning from reason rather than disaster. This is one of the greatest gifts available to every human being, the ability to learn without first suffering the full consequences. Point 2. The two classrooms of life. Every human life unfolds inside two invisible classrooms. You may not notice them. You may never consciously choose between them. But every decision you make places you in one or the other. The first classroom has a teacher. The second classroom has consequences. The first classroom whispers. The second one screams. The first classroom says, "Be careful." The second classroom says, "Now you understand." The first classroom gives advice. The second gives scars. The first allows correction before catastrophe. The second permits no negotiation. Ancient cultures across the world understood this truth long before psychology. And modern education gave it names. The Chinese philosopher Confucius famously said, "By three methods we may learn wisdom. First, by reflection, which is noblest. Second, by imitation, which is easiest. And third, by experience, which is the bitterest." Notice what Confucius did not say. He did not glorify experience simply because it teaches. He called it the bitterest teacher. Why? Because experience often extracts payment before revealing the lesson. Reflection costs almost nothing. Experience can cost everything. Point number 3. The first classroom. The teacher who speaks. This classroom is all around us. Its teachers rarely wear uniforms. Sometimes they are our parents. Sometimes a caring friend. Sometimes a disappointed employer. Sometimes a book that changes our thinking. Sometimes history. Sometimes failure that belongs to someone else. Sometimes even a stranger whose story suddenly feels like our own. This classroom speaks constantly. It asks us to observe, to reflect, to listen, to think before acting. It reminds us that wisdom is one of the few treasures that increases when shared. The Bible expresses this beautifully in Proverbs 11:14. Where there is no guidance, a people falls, but in an abundance of counselors there is safety. Notice the emphasis on safety is not merely about becoming successful, it is often about avoiding destruction. That distinction matters. Many people chase success. Few recognize that avoiding unnecessary mistakes is itself a form of success. The Quran echoes a similar principle. In Surah Az-Zumar 39:9 we read, "Are those who know equal to those who do not know?" The question is rhetorical. Knowledge has always been one of humanity's greatest forms of protection, but only when it is accepted with humility and put into practice. Point number 4, why wisdom is often rejected. If wisdom is so valuable, why do so many people ignore it? The answer lies deep within human nature. Our greatest enemy is often not ignorance, it is overconfidence. Psychologists call this the illusion of superiority, our tendency to believe we are less likely than others to make mistakes. It explains why some drivers believe accidents happen only to careless people, why unhealthy individuals assume serious illness will happen to someone else, why businesses ignore warning signs because it won't happen to us, why relationships fail after years of believing love alone is enough. Pride quietly whispers, "I'm different." Wisdom gently replies, "So did everyone else before they learned the hard way." The Greek philosopher Socrates became famous for one remarkable statement: "The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing." At first glance, this sounds strange. Surely Socrates knew many things, but his point was deeper. The moment we believe we have nothing left to learn, we stop growing. Humility is not weakness, it is the doorway through which wisdom enters. Point number 5, the high price of pride. Pride rarely announces itself. It doesn't always sound arrogant. Sometimes pride simply says, "I don't need advice. Nobody understands my situation. Rules apply to everyone else. I'll figure it out on my own." History is filled with brilliant people destroyed not by lack of intelligence but by lack of teachability. Talent can open doors, humility keeps them open. Intelligence can create opportunities, wisdom protects them. There is a Yoruba proverb that says, "The elder sees farther while sitting than the youth sees while standing." This proverb is not about physical eyesight, it is about perspective. Experience stretches vision. The elder sees consequences hidden beyond today's excitement. The young often see only today's opportunity. Neither is necessarily wrong, but together they create balance. That is why civilizations have always honored wise elders. Not because they know everything, but because they have survived enough to recognize patterns that youth cannot yet see. Let's consider an example. Imagine a young graduate named Michael, fresh out of university, ambitious, intelligent, confident. His manager repeatedly encouraged him, "Be patient, master the fundamentals before chasing promotions. Build relationships before seeking recognition." Michael believed patience was for ordinary people. He wanted rapid success. He ignored constructive feedback. He dismissed experienced colleagues as old-fashioned. He focused on appearing successful rather than becoming valuable. For a while, everything seemed to work. Then came the first major crisis. His lack of experience became obvious. His relationships were too weak to support him. The promotion disappeared. His confidence collapsed. Nothing had happened overnight. The seeds of failure had been planted months earlier, each time he ignored advice. This story repeats itself every day. In companies around the world, not because people lack ability, but because they mistake confidence for wisdom. Point number 6, the greatest library in the world. Have you ever thought about what a library really is? It is not merely a building filled with books. It is a collection of human lives. Every biography is someone's victories and regrets. Every history book records civilizations that rose and fell. Every philosophical work captures questions that humanity has wrestled with for thousands of years. Every sacred text preserves moral lessons refined through generations. When you read, you borrow decades, sometimes centuries of experience without paying the painful price those lessons originally demanded. An Indian proverb wisely says, "Learning is a treasure that follows its owner everywhere." Unlike money, it cannot be stolen. Unlike beauty, it does not fade. Unlike power, it does not depend on public approval. Knowledge carried with humility becomes wisdom. And wisdom often protects us long before danger appears. Point number 7. The first classroom is an act of mercy. Perhaps the greatest truth about the first classroom is this: it is an expression of mercy. Every warning is an act of love. Every correction is an attempt to spare us unnecessary pain. Every mentor who challenges us is investing in a future they may never fully see. Unfortunately, advice rarely feels pleasant in the moment. Correction can bruise the ego. Discipline can feel restrictive. Patience can seem frustrating, but time has a remarkable way of revealing that the voices we resisted were often the very voices trying to protect us. As the book of Proverbs reminds us in Proverbs 15 verses 31 to 32, whoever listens to life-giving correction will be at home among the wise. Those who disregard discipline despise themselves, but the one who heeds correction gains understanding. Those words carry a timeless truth. Correction is not humiliation. Correction is preparation. The first classroom exists because life, in its mercy, gives us opportunities to learn before consequences arrive. The question is whether we will recognize that gift or reject it until the second classroom begins its lesson. And as we will discover in the next part, the second classroom never raises its voice because consequences never need to. This is where we draw the curtain on part 1 of the 3-part series. Thank you for watching. If you've gained some lesson from this message, please do well to share it with your loved ones. Also remember to subscribe to this channel and tap on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Bye for now.